What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to another video. Today we are reacting to a video from Tommy.
The Family Dream.
Shut up. Tommy and she, why Gen Z give up on kids. So, without further ado, I got nothing to say. Let's get right into this.
For decades around the world that was going through the family dream for decades around the world that was going through life exactly like this. Going through elementary school to high school and having your typical good and bad experiences. Good experiences being meeting good friends you may have for life, and bad experiences being, I don't know, getting your head dunked and swirled in the toilet. I refuse to believe this has ever happened in real life. Like, I don't know where shows came up with this trope. Meeting your high school sweetheart and you both graduating. Going through college and having your wild phases. Then after graduating, having a couple more years before settling down, marrying, and having kids. Universally through the world, I feel like this is the typical path people see of how it goes. And with Gen Z, it's becoming more and more common for people to not want this path. According to the stats, almost 1 in 3 Gen Z and millennials are saying they won't have kids at all. Not even talking about kids, most aren't even trying to get into a relationship. Most dudes are either chronic gooners and gave up on love after their middle school breakup, and most girls are either insane femcells on Twitter saying men should have to earn the right to have freedom.
Every guy should start in jail and have to work his way out.
Absolutely.
I think
love
that's
that idea.
And we wonder why people fall into it.
To earn the right to have freedom.
Every guy should start in jail and have to work his way out.
Absolutely.
I think
love
that's
that idea.
Because it's like you need to earn your place out here.
You do.
In my opinion.
You do. And it should be treated as if they're on probation for a while. Like one strike, you're back.
Yeah, even when they're out. Yeah, you're right.
I think slave masters had that type of idea going on. At least they're being nicer, I guess. They're saying they'll free us. Anyways, I'm so glad of hearing the stats. It's not just me, and y'all are alone too. Yes, we are gonna be single the rest of our lives and have 0 chance of a relationship. On 3, Gen Z, who's with me? 1, 2, 3. Nobody did. Yeah, so I thought it would be pretty interesting to talk about why it's become how it is for Gen Z. You know, people always talking about how birth rates are dropping drastically. And if you think of it, it's kind of hard to find someone nowadays that has kids in their early, mid, or late 20s. Like, out of all people I've met in my life, I genuinely only know 2 people in my life that are Gen Z and have kids. And this trend is exactly following how it was for millennials. Crazy to think how the older generations was just popping out kids as soon as they hit 18. Nowadays, if I see an 18-year-old saying they're gonna have a kid, all I'm thinking of is, man, his life is absolutely bro. This is the most obvious one, but one of the main reasons is the cost of living has been absolutely fried the past couple of years. I know. I talk about it a lot and all the time, but man, how can I not? I mean, literally no one even has an ounce of hope. If you ask Gen Z what their hope is for the future, all they're gonna think of is how the cost of living is absolutely cooked and it's only gonna get worse. AI and clankers are gonna take like 80% of the jobs we have, and the US is gonna go into civil war over these dumbass politicians. The cost of living would be one thing if it was just happening in 1 or 2 countries, but the fact that it's happening in multiple countries at the same time, man, just pass me to say
it's happening in every country. Oh Lord.
Us Americans always focus on our house prices and how they are, which is true. But I feel a little more patriotic when I look at ours compared to the UK and Canada. This is a 650,000 pound house, or $879,000 house. 5 bedrooms and 1 bathroom is diabolical. I know the bathroom looks like Chernobyl every day. And in Canada, this is a $1.6 million house. No wonder Drake left out years ago. I wouldn't want to be there either. And even though I think money is obviously a factor to things like the house, I think there are people in Gen Z and millennials that can afford things like houses with a mortgage. But one of the main reasons they won't do it is because if they do get that typical family experience of getting a house on mortgage and having kids, they know they're gonna be stuck paying it for the next 30 years, probably barely scraping by. And in the act of doing that, the kids are gonna get neglected in some way. I know with my experience growing up in that typical type of suburb area, all of the kids' parents in the neighborhood, including mine, were barely home. We would be out when kids actually went outside late, and it would be 9, and some of them were still not back. Because on top of balancing the bills they had to pay, they also had to balance their kids' expenses as well, which ended up affecting younger generations' mental health and is a part of why it's such a problem now. With younger generations nowadays, we don't want to put that same type of burden on our kids. Every generation tries to improve how they were parented and change it. And I don't know about y'all, but I actually want to be able to do things with my kids. Go to Disneyland and and all the fun vacation places. But if I gotta sit there balancing in this economy a $500K mortgage of a home that's the equivalent size of a shack, as well as taking care of my kids' expenses, I know it would be too much. Which is why a lot of Gen Z is even letting go of the thought of having kids. Why would you want to bring kids into a scenario where it's potentially going to be chaotic? There's all different types of wars going on. You don't know what's going to happen economically in the next years. It's also the reason why the age of having kids has been being pushed up a lot. There's a lot of women now who are having kids in their mid 30s to early 40s, which happened less in the past because it was kind of shamed by society. The shaming has gotten better in a lot of countries, but there is those places where it's still like a very bad thing to do. I find that so weird. Like,
Yeah,
I would never
weird.
sit there and judge someone for having kids later in life. It's one thing if you're bringing up potential fertility concerns, but a doctor would tell you if you're fine or not before anyways. If I did want kids also and wanted to pay for a house, I'd probably wait until at least 70% of it's paid off, which older generations did not do. They kind of just hopped into a house and popped out some kids, then hoped and prayed they could pay off the house eventually. Another thing is younger generations are valuing their freedom way more than other generations in the past. You'll see a typical boomer be like, when I was your age, I already had 5 kids with another one coming. What's the holdup, son? Yeah, the holdup is we actually want free time in our life and not have our life dedicated to kids fully. Society back then was literally just shaped on you gotta have kids or else you won't reach your full happiness. And kids are amazing things in life. I think I gotta say that anyways because I am the child of my parents. Some people get surprised though when I tell them I'm not even thinking of having kids in my 20s and I'm probably gonna do it mid to late 30s.
Yeah. Low key. Yeah, I'm not thinking marriage and kids until 30s, and it's practically because free time. I want to grow this channel, live out, enjoy life a little bit, and then bam. Now, am I not closed off to the option of having kids at like 22, 25? No, but that's my preference. I'm gonna say it would be till 30.
It should have never been a thing in the past where people found you weird or strange if you didn't have any. Never in my life when I was younger and I saw a family member who didn't have kids did I think they were strange. And now that I'm grown, I find it even more weird when a grown-ass adult thinks that. Social media was the true changer of how...
I apologize if y'all heard thunder. It currently looks like it's about to rain, which kind of sucks for me because I'm driving with it. That's why my hair's all wet and this is getting recorded a little later.
How Gen Z and millennials approach the way they wanted kids. Before social media, people still went on vacations and traveled the world, but it's given us a brand new light on things you didn't even know existed in your own city. Like, you could go on TikTok and find some miscellaneous random fun thing in your city you never heard of before to do. I wouldn't know about a bunch of the little fun things that were going on in my city without the internet. And now, because Gen Z and millennials aren't having enough kids and birth rates are plummeting, all the governments around the world are panicking what to do. You got countries like Japan and South Korea pouring billions into fixing it only to have it get worse. Trump signed a law giving every baby born in America an $1,000 investment account. You know, I'll give the guy that one, but is that money gonna even be worth anything in like 18 years? If inflation keeps up, we're gonna be paying $200 for a Big Mac at McDonald's by the 2040s. That's if we don't have a civil war with the Clinton plan. No matter how much money the government gives to help with child costs, I think the lifestyle trend is stronger than that and it won't just fizzle out. Unless the government starts paying for like 70 to 80% of people's child expenses. It's now embedded in our society with younger generations where people are simply valuing their freedom more. You can see the stats, even in places where the cost of living is decent to good, they have less kids because to people it's no longer their forefront goal in life. Even in countries right now where the birth rate may be booming, like for a lot of the African countries, they're getting developed really fast, and as soon as it's developed to the point where people don't really feel a need as much, it's gonna drop. Crazy though how the governments only now care when people have been telling them for years they can't afford things. A lot of people say the only reason why the government even cares that the birth rate is declining is because they'll have less workers, and with less workers, they get paid less and make less money. But when you ask them to put some things in law to help us, they go, all right, I hear you. So you know what? $50 trillion to Israel. The hilarious thing is hearing older generations talk about how we don't work enough and we're lazy. Most of y'all already know it took
Yeah. Blah.
Them half the time
Oh,
to be able to
that's-
afford a house working a job like us. But what's really crazy and what they don't want to acknowledge is how insane the billionaires were taxed back then. From 1940 in America to 1960, the highest income tax rate was 90%. No wonder it only took them 2 years to get a house. Y'all was basically getting them handed to you. Most of the ultra wealthy people back then didn't pay that full percentage, but they still paid a lot more than what happens today. Today, the richest out there got like 500 different loopholes where they can pay $0 in taxes. I promise you, if they change the laws to be like this again, you would see the birth rate at least double. Another thing that plays a factor into it
Yep.
is that younger generations aren't as pressured as much into having kids. Yeah, it still happens,
True.
but the way they did it back
True,
then,
true.
it was like you were disrespecting the family if you chose not to have kids. So because of my decision in life that I personally made, you're now mad? I never understood this for real. Why don't you go have another kid or something? For now, they're staying in the sack. You still got content creators like it's the 70s blaming people for not choosing to have kids.
You're not having kids, you're selfish. You should be having kids, sharing your knowledge, your resources, everything you have to give with the next generation. Kids are literally the best thing that is going to happen to you. You should start earlier than you think that you are ready. Having kids will actually make you ready.
Buddy, how about you live in our time?
Because when you have that forcing function in your
We
life
done with the 90s, Unc.
of kids, you'll do whatever it takes for these little human beings.
People that don't want to have kids are selfish. Point blank. That's the only reason you don't want to have
What
kids, right?
about dirty?
Here's the thing. It's okay to be selfish, right?
These people have completely lost what the definition of selfish is. Just searching up the Google definition, it says lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. So how the f can you be selfish for something that doesn't even exist right now? That's like someone saying I'm selfish for not donating the money right now that I may be making in the future. Like, I'm still homeless, I haven't made the money yet. To me, it would be way more selfish to have a kid I know I'm not gonna fully be there for and put them through problems, instead of just not having the kid at all. With people that say this that want everyone to reproduce in the world, are you going to be taking care of their kids if they're not up to the task? Because if you're not, then shut the f up. Literally everyone in the world can't reproduce because we would be way too overpopulated. And the last thing that changed younger generations is the amount of communities we have. Back then, you had your typical family community and neighborhood with you, but it still didn't feel like enough. You felt like you needed that extra push. With us and social media, there is unlimited communities out there you could be a part of. You can have a community so niche, it only has 1,000 people a part of it. For us now, since we're so used to the internet, that's absolutely nothing in the size of a community. When you physically think of it though, that's like 10 times bigger than the typical neighborhood community. So now imagine 1 million or 10 million, and you could be a part of multiple of those communities at a time. It's almost impossible to not find a community you could fit in with online. Anyways, that's gonna be it though. Let me know your reproduction plans, guys, or if you have kids now. Make sure your kids watch Tom Energy for educational content always. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.
Good. Anyways, WVO Tommy Energy. Got nothing else to say. I hope y'all enjoyed that video. My face is getting dark, so let's wrap this up. So I will see you next time. Peace.